Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's such an honor for me to speak to you in this beautiful day. Today, I would like to share my big idea that really helps English teachers to solve the problems in writing skill faced by the students. Are you curious? So allow me to introduce myself first. I'm Trisnawati from Man Insan Cendekia Gorontalo. Today, I'm going to share my research experience with the title Enhancing Students' Proficiency in Writing Analytical Expositions Using CAFE Model. Without further ado, let's jump into the background of the study. Firstly, it is very common writing is considered as difficult task not just for the students but also the teacher. It needs more practice because writing is not given but need practicing recursively and directly. Moreover, writing skill has a complex process and requires more procedures. But no worries because there is always the way to solve it. The second problem came when I found my students' achievement in writing analytical expositions was very low. The most crucial obstacles derives from the internal and external aspect. The internal problem is predicted from the students' interest to write. They are not motivated to learn and the topic of writing is not interested. And the external things, of course, from the teacher itself, such as the choice of appropriate learning model, or the teacher still use the traditional way in their teaching. Furthermore, they seldom to sharpen the students' critical thinking, and the teacher has not invited the students to focus with the environmental awareness. Based on those problems, the writer inspired to design a learning model that makes the students easier to produce the analytical exposition text according to the text organization. Start with the thesis arguments and make arguments and reiteration by the following 3 steps. Think, writing, and sharing, which is conducted by the students' experience with their small research using environment at Manisan Cendekia Gorontalo as their learning experience. Come to the formulations of the problems and research objectives. There are 3 problems formulations in my research. First, how to describe the implementations of the CAFE model to increase the students' writing ability in writing analytical expositions. The second question is how far does the CAFE model increase students' writing proficiency in writing analytical positions? And the last question is how do the students respond after implementing the CAFE model? Of course, the aim of this research is firstly, to describe the implementations of the CAFE model to improve students' writing ability in writing analytical expositions. Secondly, to explain the implementations of the CAFE model to increase students' writing ability in analytical expositions. Last but not the least is to explain the student response after implementing the CAFE model. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to move to the literature review. My research My research is supported by some of literature reviews. Nurmahani said that students can think creatively while strengthening their critical thinking skills by writing. And it's also reaffirmed by Yarni Gusti that writing allows one to convey one's thoughts, ideas, and feeling using a variety of words, and it is a skill that must be learned and developed. Ardiono and Dodi also added that analytical exposition is regarded as a challenging text. It consists of thesis, a view arguments, and restatement. And the objective of the analytical exposition text is to persuade the reader or listeners that something is true. Well, move on to cafe model. It is like a problem-based learning. According to Hoyri, problem-based learning not only provides students with knowledge, but also helps them enhance their problem-solving skills, critical and creative thinking skills, lifelong learning skills, communication skills, teamwork skills, change adaptation skills, and self-evaluation skills. I added with emerging environmental awareness and a small research done by the students. They will know how to find more evidence, examples, and facts to support and make their arguments. It has 3 steps: thinking, writing, and sharing. Of course, this coffee model was designed to make students easier in writing analytical exposition text, relate with the previous study. To support my research, I took some findings from the expert. Environmental education, according to Peterson, can boost kids' academic accomplishments in science, reading, and writing, as well as foster students' critical thinking abilities, motivations, enjoyment of learning, and attitudes towards learning. And Diana Sanchez also found that language teacher will be a unique position to promote environmental awareness while teaching English. Today's educators recognize the need of environmental protection, but others may be reluctant to include environmental awareness into the classroom. Let's come to the next point of these research methods. The research methods conducted at Maninsan Cendekia Gorontalo. The subject of the researchers was the 11th graders in the Science Program 3, which has 17 students. The method used was classroom action research, which is used the Camis and Taggart models of planning, acting, observing, and reflecting. The data was gathered using quantitative and qualitative methods. The quantitative data was obtained from the scores of students' achievements, which range from 10 to 100. The result score was used to know the difference between cycle 1 and cycle 2. The instruments of the research used were the pre-test and post-test, and the non-test used a questionnaire. The data was analyzed to determine the average scores, maximum scores, and minimum scores in every cycle. The hypothesis of this study is that using a cafe model can help 11 graders of IPA 3 in Cendekia Gorontalo improve their ability to write analytical expositions paper. This leads me to my next point of the result in my research. This graph shows you about the achievement gained by the students in the first cycle. Based on the graph above, it can be concluded that, first, of the 17 participants in class, 11 IPA 3 Manisan Cendekia Gorontalo, 64.7% were less able to write analytical exposition text. And second, 23.5% of students are quite able to write analytical exposition text. And the third, only 6% of students can write analytical expositions well. And the rest was 6% of students are very good at writing analytical exposition text. So from this data, it shows that students are still not optimal in writing analytical exposition text using CAFE 1. While in the second cycle, the graph shows that the student's ability to write analytical exposition text has reached the researcher's target. Thus, it can be concluded that by using CAFE model, the writing ability of students in class 11 IPA 3 Man Insan Cendekia Gorontalo increases. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of my presentation. It can be concluded that first, CAFE model can improve students' ability in writing analytical paper from the average of 62.47 in cycle 1 to 79.12 in cycle 2. Second, the previous study conducted by the expert of genre-based approach and some of the learning experts had proven significantly that the students could improve their writing skills. So the third, CAFE model is effectively proven as a learning model to sharpen students' critical thinking, actively engage in learning, and they have fun learning activities and emerge environmental awareness amazingly. My recommendations is the high school students need to have good writing skills for their future in the fore. Therefore, educators must provide the stages of writing under the purpose of the text and the structures of writing that is good and correct by directing to construct the text. In addition, the teacher provides writing ideas related to the environmental awareness. Needless to say, the teachers can also develop learning models that can improve students' writing skill to produce better writing. The wise words say, "It is not that I'm so smart, it is just that I stay with the problem longer." For my beloved English teachers, it is not too late to start, to update your teaching and learning. And our students need us to inspire of changes. If it is not us, who else? Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.